Hello, 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 and welcome back to an all new episode here on the Desensitized channel. As always, my name is Darius Cook, joined as ever by the lovely Dan Cast. How you doing, buddy?
Good, good. It's been a while since we've been able to do this. I feel like we keep saying this, but our schedules haven't really been lining up. But
Yeah.
happy to be here and talk about some Blue Lock.
Yes. And before we dive in, I want to wish you a very happy birthday at the time
Thank
of
you,
this
thank
recording.
you,
Your birthday was yesterday.
thank you, thank you. The ripe age of
It's
27.
27, it's 2025 now. Do you have any like New Year's resolutions or, big goals for your 27th year?
Wow, what a question! I was not prepared for that. Uh, Probably just get the put more time into the content creation in this channel, my own channel, my Twitch, etc. And improve in every facet of my life, of course. But that's probably the biggest thing I want to start doing more often is finding more time to post content.
Yeah, right on. Well, hey, 2025 is the year of Dan Cast, and it's the year of Desensitize. And with that, let's dive in. Today, the topic that we are diving into is we're doing a full breakdown and review of Blue Lock Season 2. We've definitely discussed Blue Lock a few times on this channel, especially over the last few videos that we've done, because it's been a very interesting roller coaster of a season. But with the explosive finale of Season 2, I think it's worth diving in and trying to find out where we fully land by the end of this season. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Right on. I mean, okay, so we've talked about the season. Let's just, dive right into that finale. What did you think of that crazy final episode?
Honestly, I mean the last two episodes, of course the last one was even crazier, but I remember when I was watching that second to last episode, I was like, so like now they're animating them running? Like what's going on here? Like I was not expecting this at all. And then it just started like as the episode progressed, you started noticing more and more. I'm like, huh, they're like actually animating all this stuff. This is crazy. I'm like, this looks awesome. And then of course you get to the last episode and you're like, oh my god, this is like a movie quality. It's they definitely spent all their budget on that. And it was awesome to see, but at the same time you're thinking like if only they could do this consistently throughout the show, this would easily be like anime of the season. I mean, it still could be, but like it would be like no contest.
No doubt about it. If the season was treated with the same budget and energy that the final few episodes were, that I think for sure it'd be talked about as one of the best anime ever, let alone sports anime. Um, it was interesting to see the cultural conversation online throughout the season. The first half of the season, people called it PNG the anime, like it was just images, it was getting clowned on constantly. And then about halfway through, everyone still had that opinion about the animation. However, I started to hear all these quotes of, the story's still good, that I'm still invested in it. It's a shame that the story's so good, I just keep coming back. Blue Lock slaps me in the face, but I still keep coming back for more. And then we get to the end of the season, and I'm hearing all these quotes of best sports anime ever, greatest animation sequence of all time. Crazy claims. So I don't know if I've seen an anime season, have such a roller coaster of low lows and then end on such an ending of such high highs. I'm split on it emotionally because I love to see it, and I too have been turned around by that final episode, leaving us on a good note. But I don't want to just let the Blue Lock team off the hook for such a inconsistent season at the same time.
For sure. I it's tough because like of course you don't know what's going on in the behind the scenes, but it's crazy to think that like the first like 9-10 episodes, aside from like a couple moments like where the big goals were happening, like Nagi's goal, um what it feels crazy that they had to cut so many corners and like literally give us damn near a slideshow when they were capable of what they did in the end. um and with I'd imagine they got a decent budget. I mean, I think it's what the top selling manga in the US.
Right.
um I can't imagine that it was like really like a shortage of money, but maybe maybe it was a time thing because I feel like over the years we've realized how much the animators are overworked, underpaid. They don't get realistic timelines a lot of the time, so it's probably something like that. But I feel like I'd be speaking for everyone here when I'd say, um, I think we'd be happier to wait like an extra year to have like a completely consistent product. But yeah,
No, I definitely agree with that. I have looked into it a bit, and it does seem like the movie that came out with Nagi did cut the budget a lot. So I think a lot of the budget that was for this and the team got split to work on the movie at the same time
makes
of the
sense.
season. Apparently, animators came out and said that there are multiple episodes of Blue Lock that were animated by one person. They did the entire animation for multiple episodes. I
That's
mean, just knowing that it's honestly impressive because I mean
yeah,
the style of it's still beautiful, like even though they're not animating a lot of scenes, it's never a bad looking show in that regard. But just hearing that, I mean, what is going on with the animation industry, especially anime? I mean, it's such like a dumpster fire. Every project we hear these crazy stories.
yeah, and it's like for example JJK, like that whole last season, like that's when like it really started coming out that like Mappa's like severely overworking like their team, and like the fact that they were still able to produce such a good product, and then they said that that final that one fight with Maharaga and uh John a blank, what's his face, Sukuna.
Uh,
um
yes.
they were like, this isn't even everything that we animated, they had to cut it, and I'm like, what? Like, you
Yeah.
guys created this insane product, and like there's still more of it. It's insane. But
They said it was 70% of the final product that they wanted to deliver.
which is insane.
Yeah, it's nuts because it's one of the coolest fights I've seen.
Oh, for sure. Like, not many can rival it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Now, okay, let's get into some more of the nitty gritty of the season. Is there like a character that stood out to you the most? We had some characters highlighted on the U20 team and on our Blue Lock team as well. Rio had a lot of time to shine. Nagi, Bakura was there. Isagi, obviously, Ren, and then Sei, the two Itoshi brothers. Who stood out to you the most?
Honestly, one of my favorite characters was probably I forget the name of him, but the captain of the U20 team. He was
The
sick.
defender?
Yeah, his whole like I don't know, he played such a big role in like firing up Blue Lock, and also of course getting uh, Itoshi Sai on their team.
Hmm.
Um, and it's cool that like in a show about forwards, like a center back is all of a sudden getting like a lot of screen time. He's such a big character. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. That was the answer I was definitely gonna say. Definitely cool perspective, and I've seen some soccer anime in the past. I know you have as well, and I don't think I've seen like defense depicted in such a cool way before. Like in all aspects, they do it with that character the most. But I think in a lot of ways, they make all the positions on the field seem cool and compelling. It's something I want to see more of in the future. Is like fleshing out the role that defense can play.
Yeah, and it's honestly really cool that they obviously like over exaggerate and like romanticize the like each character's like special ability, but it just makes them so cool. Like it gives them all their own individual strengths and weaknesses that like I don't know, the they give a lot of shine to a lot of like other positions, which is cool. Um, when like I when I first started, I thought this was only going to be forwards, but it's also cool seeing how like this team of all forwards is low key finding like their own different positions. Because I mean that
Mhm.
happens sometimes where a player will start as forward or whatever, and then all of a sudden they have to fill a different role, and then they find that they were more successful in a different one. And it's not
Yeah,
like about being the goal scorer always, it's about just like winning the game.
for sure. I feel like that was exemplified most with Rayo and his
For sure.
chameleon ability and the different ways that he's providing value to the team in multiple ways, even though his position on the field is like I think like a forward middle position, if I recall correctly. Um, At least in terms of the placement on the field, in terms of the cartoon. I don't really know how,
I
how it lined
think
up, but
Rio was like a defender. I think.
okay. Okay. No, I could be getting that wrong. Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But my favorite dynamic this season has to be between Antenna Head, who started on Blue Lock and switched over to the U20s, and then Atoshi Sei. That flirtation, that banter, seeing them both act as monsters on the field and get behind everybody, so entertaining. I mean, what great like villains and antagonists to set up for this season.
Also, his goal was so sick.
Oh yeah, like, it was insane.
A little sus, but it was definitely cool.
That
Um,
might have been like the coolest goal. Obviously, like Isagi's goal at the end was very
oh,
cathartic
so
and,
sick.
and satisfying, but that was like the coolest and
Yeah,
like most
yeah,
creative goal we've seen in the show, I feel like.
yeah. And it was based off a real goal too, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
Honest,
really?
yeah. Um, Honestly, like I've been seeing, I don't know how true a lot of them are, but people have been drawing a lot of parallels between real players and characters, and they're saying like this is what they're based off of. I don't know if the authors confirm that, but there's definitely a goal of that's like the same. It's
Mm.
made by a player named Zlatan, where like the keeper runs out, heads the ball, and it's like gonna go over his head, but he just bicycle kicks it into the goal. So it was like the same thing as sick,
Oh
uh,
man. Oh, what an epic goal.
for sure. Um, One thing I was a little sad was I wanted to see more of Isagi and Bachira. I feel like they had this dynamic. They were hyped to see each other on the same team, and then you don't really see them do much until like maybe the last couple episodes where they have like one play. But and also like their parents are sitting together. I feel like they could have done more with that. But yeah,
I totally agree. I think that's the only in terms of the characters and where we go, that's the only thing that I feel unsatisfied with within the season is that Bakura feels way underused. For someone who when you were watching season one, he feels almost like the second main character. Like he feels so integral to Isagi's journey from the second that Isagi gets there. And I love their scenes together, but we really didn't get to he didn't get to shine as much as I wanted this season, and I thought that there was a bit of missed opportunity there.
and like I don't know if I'm not remembering what position he was exactly, but it had to have been like midfield or like something on the wing, which seems crazy because like almost everything has to go through the midfield. The fact that like he just got like little to no screen time was
Mm,
crazy. It was like almost always like Isagi and Rin like just doing like wall passes just back and forth to each other to get through, but
that's
like
true.
not utilizing everyone all the time.
That's true. I will say, I think where we would have gotten more Bakura is where he got stolen by Baro coming in, King Baro
For
coming in
sure.
in the last half. I think and honestly, that was very satisfying as well. I didn't know I needed to see Baro step it up and come in and hunt down Isagi and call him one donkey and come in with that thunderous goal. But it added a nice flavor into it, and it kind of upped the stakes the second that he showed up because he's such an asshole, and it just like made everything feel more intense.
Dude, one like my biggest gripe I think is the fact that when goals were scored, a lot of the times like it would just show them like a still frame of celebrating. I feel like you could have gotten so much more emotion out of people if you actually filmed like if you actually like animated the full celebration. Like
Mm,
for example, Borrow like taking off his shirt and just like going like widespread in front of the crowd. Like they just showed a still frame of that. If you showed
right.
like him just walking up to the crowd and like all the lights shining on him, like that would have been so impactful and would have made the goals feel even crazier. Kind of like how they did with the Sagi, like at the end.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously the still frames and all that stuff, like the not so great celebrations, made his even more special, I guess. But
sure.
I feel like they really should have animated and shown like the goal, like the celebrations, because that I feel like that would have really like made me feel like, damn, this is so awesome.
No, that's interesting. I didn't think about that, but you're totally right. You see the goal go in, and then it cuts to the players jumping on each other and stuff like that. But if you actually see them run up and jump on each other, like that would be, I feel like that would deliver a much more like emotional reaction.
Yeah, it makes like the
And
goals just
maybe
feel so much more special.
Maybe you are right though that they keep it underhanded until you get to Isagi's goal, because that moment when Isagi winds up the kick and you're seeing everyone's reactions before it goes, and then you see it going, it's like,
Yeah,
oh, like hearing that kind of reaction for the first time in this series, a series that has had so many goal moments, but getting that stadium shot, wide-reaching celebration, I actually feel like the anime was able to replicate the experience of watching a live
for
match and
sure.
like getting that win. Like it felt like I was at a live event. I've never like felt that impacted by a sports anime, and like it takes me out of the anime genre and like I'm watching a live sport.
For sure. Especially in soccer, like often a lot of games aren't like high scoring. So when you do score, it's like a big moment. It's like it's crazy. Especially if you watch like a soccer game in like another country where it's a lot bigger of a sport. Like a goal gets scored and the whole stadium like erupts. Like it's insane. But yeah, hopefully going forward, if they I don't know if they'll be having big games in the next season. It seems like they're going back to just blue lock shit. Um, but yeah, just I would love to see like the celebrations like fully animated because I've seen like fan concepts of it and I feel like those would have been like those had legs to stand on. Those would have been awesome.
Mm. So I have a question. So about halfway through the episode, this is when we see like the start of Itoshi Rin becoming like the monster. And then we see, the aspect ratio switch. And so now we got the black bars on the bottom. Like, did you notice that like camera shift and
Yeah,
everything? How
yeah.
did you feel about that transition?
I liked it. It definitely made it seem more like just locks you in further. Like really just I don't know. It made me feel like I was watching a movie because it was just a really big moment. Um, I I love when animes will actually like um take a lot of stuff from like a lot of big things from like film, like where they'll like for example like Chainsaw Man and JJK were very like cinematic. Like they had very creative angles and like really cool ways to shoot things, and I feel like anime should be incorporating that more often because I don't know, like you get kind of the same shots a lot of times in animes, but like no one's really getting that creative with how it is.
Yeah, whenever an anime decides to act as if there is a camera being
For
used and like
sure.
they're using
So
that
cool.
technology, it's such an easy way to up the stakes of what you're watching. And yeah, at first it threw me off. I was like, did my Crunchyroll just like glitch out or something like that? So I like rewinded a little bit and then watched it again. And I was like, oh no, they're just upping the stakes right now. Camera angle starting from like, you
Yeah.
know, bird's
Like the
eye view of the
final
field and
match
then
or
coming
final
down to
yeah.
the ball.
So
Yeah,
sick.
super fun, and it kicked off. The rest of the episode was the honestly probably the most well animated thing I've watched this season of anime. I mean, maybe this year in anime. It seems like the best animated sequence since JJK.
For sure. It was amazing. And like you said with like pretending there's a camera there, like I remember during Isagi's goal, like he hits into the corner and like one of the scenes was literally like almost like a camera had fallen after he hit
Mm,
it. And
right,
you'll see stuff like that in soccer too, where like there's a ton of cameras around the goal. If like they hit it hard enough, like it'll shake the camera and like it's cool.
right, for sure. Did you? I mean, how do we feel about Rin becoming a monster? Tongue out, eyes wide, just looking like an absolute gremlin out there.
Yeah, I felt like there was definitely like I saw what they were doing and obviously they um they're like, oh, this happens in sports, blah blah, and they showed like some examples. But um I feel like they could have done it for like the first couple dribbles, but then he could have put that tongue back in there. It was crazy that it just was out the whole time. Um
Yeah.
but honestly, that's the biggest thing I've seen. Like a lot of people when all the clips were getting posted, people that didn't watch Blue Lock, they're like, "What the fuck's this freaky ass show? Like, what's he doing?" And I was like, "Oh man, this isn't like a best look."
Out of context, it is a little rough. But it was fun to see him because we with Ren, much like Isagi, we keep seeing him like reach his peak and then establish a new peak. And at this point, it was like he just was broken. Like his meter was completely broken. He was just like raw instinct. Definitely fun, definitely satisfying, and it was nice as like me, the viewer, I'm really leaned into this, Say brother matchup and him being a monster. And it made me forget about Isagi a little bit, and then he comes in to steal the show at the very end. I think it was executed very well. Like I have no complaints about the last 10 minutes of Blue Lock.
For sure. It was cool to see like Isagi, who's normally like, or not Isagi, Rin. Rin's
Hmm.
normally pretty like calm, cool, collected, and like confident in himself and blah blah. And then like all of a sudden he's like a completely broken man, not like collected at all, just like a beast. So like it made it even more like impactful.
Absolutely. Yeah, and even seeing Ego, is that his name? The guy who's in charge of Blue Lock, the
Yeah.
coach guy. Even just seeing the way that he's gripping his knuckle a little bit and you see like the adrenaline coming off of him and like the heavy breath. Even that like small display of emotion for someone who's usually so buttoned up really hit home the emotion of the final sequence.
And like when Isagi like confronted him, he's like, "How do we win?"
Oh
He's like,
yeah.
"We already won." But he's like, "No, we want to win this game. Like, tell us how to win."
Yeah,
Like,
he like, calls him like a four-eyed freak or something.
yeah,
Like,
no,
yeah, it's those moments when the characters break and just like absolute like read each other to filth that like is like the core of the attitude of Blue Lock. Like whenever they have those little moments, it was the same thing when the coach told Chigiri off. He's like, "Why are you making that face? Next time you come onto the field, come with a body that can play the whole time."
yeah. I was like, "Damn."
Yeah. I think that's a big part of the charm of Blue Lock is when you see these characters getting close and becoming friends, and then they just say this absolute foul shit to each other.
Yeah, it's in the heat of the moment they get crazy, and then like yeah, of course after the game they're all happy and whatever. But like in the middle of it, they're like I hate you, blah blah. Because people have been making jokes about like scenes of like Isagi like when they were doing like part of the Blue Lock program doing like a lot of the trials. He would say like crazy shit to people, and then like the next scene he's like good job, and
Yeah.
then everyone's like this guy
He's so
comes.
two-faced.
Yeah, he's like this guy comes from a loving home, by the way. Like he has no traumas. He's just like evil.
It is true that Isagi's background is just he was given the opportunity to play soccer at a high level and is getting more opportunities to do so. Like there's no compelling
No,
background at all.
he's got like a complete family. They're all loving. He has no reason to have any sort of trauma aside from soccer, and he like you'd think he's like a broken man.
Yeah, no, if Blue Lock doesn't work out for Asagi, he just goes home and probably lives a decent life for the rest of
Yeah,
his life. Like
like
there's no issues
it's
whatsoever.
not that crazy, but like I guess that makes it more because he doesn't see anything other than that. But
Yeah. Uh yeah, and so okay, let's look forward to the future of Blue Lock. Obviously at the very end of the episode we have a tease of one of our characters returning. But beyond that, I want to theorize that now that everyone's acknowledged that Isagi is the guy on Blue Lock, right? Like he's the one who's able to pull everyone's potential up higher. The game's kind of working around him at this point. I think much like how Baro has been chasing Isagi in a way, I think Isagi is going to take on the new Rin role. And what'll make it compelling is everyone's going to be coming after Isagi. They want to, he's the king that they want to drag down. So I think people are going to be targeting him much more aggressively, and he's going to find himself kind of sitting at the top of Blue Lock in an interesting way.
yeah, and I mean it was. I mean I feel like we can't not talk about the moment between um Isagi and Rin after the game. He's like, like you made that goal happen. He's like, shut up. Like he's like, I'm your rival. Like I'm gonna take you out. And then like
Hmm.
Isagi was obviously like shocked, but then he was like, bet. Like he's like, I look forward to it. Um,
Their dynamic has grown in such an interesting way between the two seasons,
for
dude.
sure.
It's become probably the most compelling part of the story, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, and his brother like acknowledging he's like, maybe there's hope for Japan, and then he's like, it's not you, by the way.
Maybe he can be the main
Yeah, and
character
I was
in
like,
it.
damn, bro. Like they just keep kicking him when he's down, man.
For real. Yeah, Rin has a tough time, bro.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I'm excited. Like I'm pretty invested in his story. I mean, they've obviously put a lot into it, so I'm sure they're gonna like keep fleshing it out. Um, as far as like what's gonna happen next, though, like I have no idea. Like I can't even imagine what kind of like trials and trainings. I mean, they pretty much have their team already. So it's not like I don't think they're gonna be like eliminating people like that. At least you'd think. I mean, they showed two people at the end, so obviously there's probably two spots that can be taken. But I'm not even sure like what happens from here on.
Yeah, it's hard to even know like what the goal is moving forward in terms of the timeline of the Blue Lock program and like what's the end goal exactly. Is there a world where maybe some of the U20s try to come to Blue Lock to, up their game as well, and that creates competition for more people to get eliminated? I'm just not sure.
Maybe I feel like maybe Blue Lock will like create their own team and maybe start like competing in leagues and stuff
Hmm.
like that. Um, but I honestly can't even like imagine what's gonna happen next. I mean, obviously, whatever happens, I'm so excited. That's like one of my most anticipated animes now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I imagine, I mean, we got a movie between season one and season two. Where we land after season two in terms of the hype, I can only imagine that they would probably have a movie again. Maybe it would be from like some of the U20s perspective. I don't know. Like I don't know how you build out this story more or what other perspective we could get at this point, but that would be interesting, compelling, but hey, we'll see.
Yeah, I a movie sounds fine to me. As long as it doesn't cut into the budget of the next season.
Yeah, right.
Um, I mean, you'd think that I mean, I don't know the dynamic of anime movies, but you'd think they're running a profit when they make these movies. Otherwise, I feel like they wouldn't. So you'd hope that you end up getting more of a budget after the movie's out, but uh, maybe they were kind of making the season already in tandem with the movie to a degree. So like they had already completed some episodes, so maybe
Hmm.
it was already too far too late before they could turn the budget over into the season. But I'm not sure.
True. Yeah, it's hard to say. One day we got to get a Japanese animator on this podcast and with all these hard hitting questions.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that brings it to a close. Was there anything else you wanted to tackle here, slide tackle here on this Blue Lock review?
No, not really. Like I said to you before, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Maybe I'll see if I can pull it up. Um, it's got me wanting more soccer content. So I'm definitely starting a new soccer anime.
I know what
Um,
it's called. It's called I Know Ho or something like that.
Something like that. Um, did you look into it?
I've just been kind of aware of it. Like I remember I think it came out in like 2021, and I had my eye on it, but I never watched it. But I've debated watching it a few times.
Yeah, it's Aoishi.
Okay,
I don't know how to
okay,
pronounce it, but
yeah.
um,
Hey, if you're
yeah,
enjoying it, I'll check it out.
yeah. I'm gonna watch a couple more episodes today. I mean, like I've only watched one episode, but it seems good. Seems promising. Obviously now I'm like back into it's got me like wanting to watch and play soccer again.
Of
So
course.
I'm gonna be like trying to get my soccer content in. So I'm definitely gonna give that one a watch, and maybe we'll give a review on that.
Yeah, I'll check it out. We'll see. This could be a soccer anime podcast from now on. There's a few of them out there,
A
so
few of them,
uh,
but probably not
yeah.
that many good ones.
All right. Well, I'm going to say that brings this conversation to a close. Of course, we'll be excited. When Blue Lock comes back, we'll be here to review it. We can't wait to be devoured by Isagi in the future.
Pause.
I'm not pausing. I want it. He
Alrighty,
can he can devour me all he wants. All
bruh.
right.
Okay.
All
Alrighty.
right. Have a great day.
Have a good one, everybody, and we'll catch you next
All right.
time.
Peace out. Bye.
Bye.